Military muster rolls hold a very special place in our history and in our hearts. But for African American volunteers during the Civil War, it was a profile in courage.
Well, the Kentucky Historical Society is very fortunate to have a ledger and muster roll from 1864 that details African American soldiers who enlisted into the Union Army. They enlisted all over the state, notably at Camp Nelson in Jessamine County, and this document really contains a lot of valuable information about the soldiers who joined the Union Army at that time. The state actually mustered over 23,000 African American soldiers into the Union Army. In Camp Nelson alone, more than 10,000 African Americans joined the Union Army there, making it one of the largest African American recruiting grounds in the nation. This muster roll is interesting because it includes 3 congressional districts that existed in Kentucky at the time. There's a large number of those men were from central Kentucky, but it also includes people from the Maysville region, northeastern Kentucky, and also southeastern Kentucky. It includes their age, where they were from, their name, of course, but also importantly, it lists who their enslaver was at the time they enlisted into the Union Army. This has been digitized, so anyone can look at it online. The full journal is accessible. In addition to listing their occupations, we know that there were mainly farmers and laborers, but also shows that a lot of them were trained in different trades, including being a blacksmith or potentially a carpenter. So this is valuable for people who want to learn more about their own African American genealogy, learn more information about why these men wanted to self-emancipate themselves, join the Union Army, and be freed from enslavement. The occupations are very different from region to region. In central Kentucky, for example, the men are mainly laborers and farmers, and most of these men were enslaved. And a lot of them had to actually escape from the farms where they were living, escape from Kentucky communities, and make a very dangerous trek to Camp Nelson in Jessamine County or other places where they could be enlisted. So these men were really emancipating themselves at that time. There were dangerous journeys. We know, for instance, one man's name in the ledger is Peter Bruner, who's from Winchester, Kentucky. His father was actually the man who enslaved him. He'd been beaten throughout his childhood and tried to escape a number of times. And he finally escaped during 1864, made his way to Camp Nelson with a number of other freed slaves, and there joined the Union Army, which granted him his freedom. We know that Bruner served in an artillery regiment throughout the war, and then after the war became a custodian and messenger in Miami University in Ohio. And so it's a great story of redemption, sort of freedom and self-emancipation that exists within the pages of this wonderful document.
For more information, visit us online at history.ky.gov. From the Kentucky History Center and Museums in downtown Frankfort, I'm Doug High.